The privatization process was followed through diligently despite all the complaints, challenges, and bottlenecks. The government successfully transited from a public-owned power sector to a private-driven industry. The handover of the firms to their new owners is one of the greatest achievements. Vintage words of the quintessential Professor Chinedu Ositadinma Nebo, Nigeria's Minister of Power, giving an appraisal of the Jonathan administration's power revolution. Professor Chinedu Nebo, who was appointed by President Goodluck Jonathan as the Minister of Power on February 4, 2013, says that the issue of labor is enough to frustrate any government if care is not taken in handling electricity-related matters. It is the administration's credit that the severance pay to PHCN workers commenced on June 17, 2013, following the successful resolution of all labor issues between the federal government and the labor unions. The strong leadership roles of President Jonathan, his vice, Namadi Sambo, and of course Professor Nebo in the government's power reform program has been quite exemplary and commendable. These trio truly prioritized the power sector based on their convictions and realizations that if Nigeria got it right with power, then the country's growth and overall development will accelerate. Under Professor Nebo's supervision, Nigeria has today successfully transited from a vertically inclined government monopoly to a privately structured and regulated private sector-dominated market.
I'm greatly encouraged at the progress made so far towards the reforming the power sector since the launching of this sector in August 2010. I sought to fulfill the intent of the Electric Power Sector Reform Act of 2005, which strives to liberalize the sector and bring in private sector ownership, management and financing to the industry.
Besides the significant steps taken to develop the requisite infrastructure that would drive the power supply process, the government has received global commendations for its privatization program, adjudged the most transparent in Africa. This process has since seen the sale of 11 distribution companies, DISCOs, and 6 generation companies, also known as GENCOs. Pointedly, the privatization was the concluding part of a process that led to the unbundling of the Power Holding Company of Nigeria, PHCN, into the 11 DISCOs and 6 GENCOs, and 1 transmission company. The DISCOs and GENCOs offered for sale have since been handed over to their new private owners.
Government will continue with its regulatory role to make the nascent power sector market more responsive to the forces of demand and supply.
Being an achiever, Professor Nebo has courageously supervised the construction of 10 gas-fired plants under the National Integrated Power Project (NIPP), managed by the Niger Delta Power Holding Company. There are also several hydro dam projects spread across the country. The 10 power generating plants under the NIPP scheme are at various stages of completion and have a total generation capacity of about 5,222 megawatts. They are located in Alaoji, Omotosho, Sapele, Geregu, Olorunshogo, Calabar, Bahrain, Ihovo, Omoku, and Egbema towns. Only recently, government commissioned 4 new power plants at Azura in Edo State, Omotosho in Ondo State, Zungeru in Niger State, and Gedu.
We are indeed glad that, Mr. President, in your characteristic crave for transformation and development, you have actualized the dream of having another dam to boost electricity by adding 700 megawatts to the national grid. We see this your visit as part of the centenary celebration. We thank you for this gift. Mr. President, you are the only Nigerian with the good luck and experience of being a deputy governor, a vice president, and a president with a PhD. So if you hear criticism, it is not because we don't love you, Mr. President. It is because we want more. If we don't make the noise, people will not hear us.
Significant progress has also been recorded in restoring investor confidence, as evidenced by the increased investment and signing of Memorandum of Understandings, MOUs. The most recent is the MOU signed with Power China Corporation to develop 20,000 megawatts of thermal power plants with associated substations and transmission lines up to 10,000 kilometers.
NIPP contribution to the national grid stands at about 1,600 megawatts on a regular basis, as efforts are being made on the part of the Power Holding Company of Nigerian Generation Successor Companies to carry out maintenance and overhaul of more units in the privatized power stations with a view to achieving a robust generation profile for the country. It is very clear that better days are ahead.
The Ministry of Power under Professor Nebo has continued to strategize and re-strategize to ensure an improvement of the competencies of the existing workforce through skill enhancement and professional development programs. The Power Ministry has in the last 1.5 years made stakeholders' engagement top priority in efforts to incrementally improve power generation, transmission, distribution, and supply to ensure a darkness-free Nigeria. As at the end of 2012, Nigeria's peak generation profile stood at 4,517.6 megawatts, while her installed generation capacity as at 2013 stood at a record 9,920 megawatts, with available generation capacity at 6,522 megawatts. As of 2012, the country's transmission wheeling capacity was 4,527 megawatts, but that figure moved to 6,870 megawatts in 2013. Also, the country's distribution capacity moved from 6,360 megawatts in 2011 to 7,325 megawatts in 2013. Also within the period Professor Nebo has been in charge as Minister of Power, government has successfully established power reform institutions which are now operational and handed over the Transmission Company of Nigeria (TCN) to Manitoba Hydro International, a globally recognized management contractors firm based in Canada. The Ministry of Power, with Professor Nebo in charge, has been effectively and efficiently driving government efforts to diversify the energy mix. Already, government is exploiting the nation's vast resources of coal, wind, biomass, solar and hydropower potentials.
The government is working very hard to promote renewable energy, especially solar, because the government of Nigeria recognizes that virtually all parts of Nigeria are suitable for solar energy. And that was why Mr. President himself physically commissioned on the 13th of January 3 communities to flag off Operation Light Up Rural Nigeria. He did that, and these communities, every house, every street, every road path is lighted by solar.
The federal government's Operation Light Up Nigeria project has also engaged Professor Nebo and his team at the Power Ministry. Under the project, the ministry, in conjunction with the foreign companies Philip International of Netherlands and Schneider of Germany, will implement micro-off-grid mined or solar-powered lighting systems to light up homes, communities, common meeting centers, as well as major inlet and outlet roadways into rural communities.
We are building a sound and sustainable electricity industry with great expectations for robust growth in the sector. However, success in any endeavor does not happen by accident, but is facilitated by sound decision, conscious effort, and immense persistence, which the company management have and investors. We are committed to irreversibly repositioning the Nigerian power sector as a pivot for the attainment of the nation's development targets. We are also maintaining our policy push for increased diversification of our energy sector, expanding investments in large hydropower projects to through public-private partnership and the provision of necessary support to accelerate the exploitation of our coal resources.
NIPP as a national project was essentially moribund and comatose when Mr. President Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan assumed office in May 2010. Let us not forget also that it was this same president that led as a leader and as a trusted leader and a great respected leader to ensure that all the 3 tiers of government have a buy-in in the NIPP projects, without which what we celebrate today would have been an impossibility.
It is in recognition of Professor Chinedu Ositadinma Nebo's achievements so far, selfless service, and the many projections of his ministry that the National Honours Award Committee, for the second time, included his name among the 313 distinguished Nigerians and foreigners for the 2014 National Honours Award.
Once one has come to a place in life that people look up to you, you don't want to be in a place where people will look down on you. You want to do better things, you want to improve, you want to serve the nation better, you want to dedicate more of your life to the service of the nation.
Speaking at the investiture ceremony, which held at the prestigious International Conference Center in Abuja, President Jonathan showered encomiums on the recipients and thanked them for their selfless services to man and God and their dedication to the success of the Nigeria project.
A nation is void and soulless if it does not have those sacred values it holds dear and individuals who project them. It's in such men and women that you find the authentic inheritance of the generations and their nurturing. That is why a nation is poor, that is not rich in people who carry noble values that are transferred from generation to generation.
Professor Nebo is one of the 9 then-serving ministers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria conferred with the Commander of the Order of the Niger, CON Honours. To Professor Nebo, the honor is a call to serve the nation even better in whatever capacity God, destiny, and the Nigerian people will wish him to do.
Wherever I am, I make bold to say I am from Enugu State. And I thank God for the privilege of being in Enugu State in times like this. I want to appreciate all of you distinguished ladies and gentlemen who have come. I really appreciate you all, especially our distinguished senators, members of the House, former governors, especially my own uncle, Jim Ifeanyi Chukwumobodo.
The people of Enugu State in southeast Nigeria, Professor Nebo's home state, were not left out in the celebration. They also put together a dinner to welcome friends, well-wishers, and associates of their son. The dinner also provided a veritable forum for them to speak on the man, Professor Nebo, Nigeria's Minister of Power.
Starting from your days as the Vice Chancellor of the University of Nigeria, you have always been known for excellence. And tonight, we are very glad to be with you in Abuja in continuation of this celebration of excellence.
The president has done very well. He has brought some changes and put in some spices into the celebration, recognizing those who may not be big but strong, but small, but very strong in their ways. I think it's been wonderful.
In 2009, Professor Nebo received the Officer of the Order of the Niger, OON. And in 2012, he got the National Productivity Order of the Merit Award, NPOM. Professor Nebo was born June 3, 1952 in Kafanchan in Kaduna State to Mr. Christopher and Mrs. Ifeanyi Nebo of Udi in Enugu State. He had once served as a member of the governing board of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, National Steering Committee on Vision 2020, Governing Council of Nigeria Institute of International Affairs, NIIA. He had also served as chairman of the Enugu State Committee for the Eradication of Cultism and a member of the Enugu Development Committee. Prior to his appointment as Minister of Power, Professor Nebo was a Vice-Chancellor at the University of Oyo-Ekiti between February 2011 and February 2013. Before then, he was also Vice-Chancellor at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, UNN, between 2004 and 2009. He was also Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Enugu State University of Science and Technology from January 2000 to January 2004. The minister has been credited with the observable positive changes in the fortunes of the power sector, occasioned by the transformation agenda of the Goodluck Jonathan administration.
Generally, as you can see, there is some improvement in NEPA. Concerning where we stay, it is in Area 1. For past few, let me say, for a few weeks now, at least there's some improvement. But other past years, there's nothing. But I think these few weeks, there is improvement. Once there is a constant light, one, it will help to make the environment comes alive in terms of moving, doing business, people doing business. As you can see, when you go back there, you see the people that do electronics work. Once there's light, they are busy. Everybody is busy. Electricity is life. You understand? So no matter what is, in fact, is all. You understand? So once there is a constant light, everything moves smoothly. Even when customer is not coming, but once there's light, you will feel the impact everywhere become not alive.
Anything about power now, there is improvement for now in power in FCDA now more than before. Particularly in this Area 1 environment. Before, like the old regime, there is no lights before, but now we have the lights and everything have been going normal. Even now, I'm just trying to go and buy the card now because I went out since morning. They said there is no network in the system. I'm just trying to go back again because if there is light, you have the mind to pay to do anything because you enjoy the light. You just any facility you enjoy, you need to pay.
The light condition in my area is really stable and steady. At least we use lights more often than generators along the airport road. Light is really steady. But I traveled just of late to my hometown, but I didn't see light. I slept over my village, but there was no light. So I tried asking. They told me there had not been light because of some issues, which they couldn't tell me. But I observed when I was coming from Onitsha to the boundary between Onitsha and Imo State, which is Uli, there was light. So me, I am of the opinion if I could have my way to talk to them there is to see if we can like switch power to Anambra State and probably feed my hometown and other neighboring villages around.
I thank God for a new government of Goodluck Jonathan Ebere for light improvement now. An issue of light, power, electricity in Nigeria today is improving. But the issue is that the people that is concerned, the people that bought the power, that managing the energy, should at least move ahead to, I don't know how to put it, but all I know, as I'm seeing it as somebody who is in the field, government is trying, but the people that are managing the light, they are not moving down the deep to see how the power is being managed. The old people that are still in power, they are still using it as private. Some people are just using it to make their own self rich. Like some contractors are complaining, many are working but no payment. And after around, I've been in Ibadan, I store many transformers. I've been in Niger State, I store many transformers. In the East, I store many transformers. But the issue is that there is improvement, but the people that are using the power, like you can go in some villages, you see people using the power, but they don't know the value of light. You see, in the morning, people will leave some bulbs on. You see, I don't know, it's because they're not using the prepared meter, the waste light, where there is light. They don't know how to, when you wake up in the morning, it's off the security lights within your house or within your vicinities. But as I'm seeing light now, light is steady and there is upcoming of light.
Above average. If not for the incident, we've always enjoyed regular power supply.
The light situation in our area, particularly the place that I know, even though some of the areas in Abuja, people are saying the light now is improvement, not like before, definitely. Light is now is getting better, not like before, because sometimes in our area we can use at least 5 to 1 week without taking the light.
When they take the light, 5 minutes it's back and it's all through. Like yesterday we had light all through. They just took it this morning and before the twinkle of an eye they brought the light back. So I think they've really improved on light issue in Nigeria. The president is trying, the minister of power is trying, those people behind it is really improving. I just hope it gets to every other part of Abuja and every other part of Nigeria so that they can know and feel that, okay, the government is really working on this. I really give them kudos for that.
I wouldn't say it's absolutely 100%, but the government is really working.
For the area that I'm living, the NEPA has tried. I can only speak about my own area. Concerning the lights, I mean, in the environment that I'm living along the airport road, we are getting lights.
Professor Chinedu Ositadimma Nebo is a graduate of the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology, from where he got a first-class honors Bachelor of Science degree in mining engineering. He holds a Master's of Science degree in Metallurgical Engineering and a PhD in Materials Engineering and Sciences. We, your friends, associates, colleagues, contemporaries, and stakeholders in the Nigerian power sector, join you and members of your family, your community, people, and other Nigerians in most heartily congratulating you on the occasion of your conferment with the highly esteemed national honor of Commander of the Order of the Niger, CON, by President Goodluck Ebele Azikiwe Jonathan. It suffices to quickly remind Professor Nebo and his team of the verdict of the Financial Times newspaper on Nigeria's power revolution. It wrote, and I quote, "There is an increasing belief that the Nigerian power sector is about to change, and the consensus seems to be that this change will be for the better." End of quote. We say, well done, Prof. The Jonathan's administration agenda in the power sector is working, and Nigeria is now the better for it.